Alright, let's do this from the top. Howdy, I'm Jardonian. I am the guy who basically runs the IPL YouTube. I'm our content director. And as you probably noticed, the Weekly Ink kinda disappeared for all of November. That's kinda my fault. I was in and out of the hospital for most of November. So while people were helping me out collecting events, giving me details, etc., I couldn't really direct anything or do anything because I was kinda dying. I'm alive now, we're fine, but there were no episodes in November, and I feel really bad about that. So, to make up for it, I have taken all of the events that are worth talking about for November 2024, and I am giving you our first edition of the Monthly Ink. Warning, this video is very long, as you can probably tell, especially compared to normal. We've broken it up on a week-by-week basis. It was a very busy month too, so there was a lot that went on. This is scripted, but it's more note style rather than being like the formal scripts we normally do. Apologies, I don't have a ton of time between finals and still like life to do this as formally as we've done in the past, and we will go back to normal for December and into the future, especially going into next year. So howdy, I'm Jardonian. I did everything for this episode, and let's break it down in this week's episode of the Monthly Ink, I guess. Alright, starting from 10:30 to 11-5. IPL actually didn't run any events this week, it just didn't work for our scheduling, but Under Pressure and Dapple definitely picked up the gaps. For the weeklies, Paddling Pool ran a special spooky edition that was taken by Goat, a pickup of Phoenix, Mikey, T, and Nepia. And Prison Break 12 was won by none other than Hades, a pretty well-known high-level team. On the other end of the spectrum, Low Level got a banger event this week with FTIU 64, which pulled 49 teams to try and fight for the top this time around. Pretty good. The event was won by California Girls, but I'd actually like to give a special shout out to the second place team, not Div 2, Electric Boogaloo, because that was their team name and you are playing an FTIU. Correct, you are not Div 2. And while we're talking about low level, we can't forget what is, in my opinion, actually one of the most wholesome events in just the entire community, Junior Draft. This event's just always fantastic, and this edition was no different, with tons of new players who tried out competitive Splatoon for the first time, learning what our community is all about. The event was won overall by Chorus Compression, a team consisting of Nebby, KitKat, Lenny, and I Eat Cars, but to be honest, the whole community wins by having tons of new players be introduced to competitive Splatoon through this. Be sure to check this event out. It's just one of the best and one of the most important in our whole community, and it deserves all the support it can get. Jumping from low level back to top level, we had two big tournaments in Glaze Gauntlet 5 and Fry Basket 12 this week. Fry Basket was won by Neymar, a pickup of Gray, Zerez, Yu, and Clef, who took the event over tons of top level teams in pickups such as Moonlight, Duck Motif, My Little Henlo, JB's Korean Barbecue, I Am in So Much Pain, even more Dread comps, and, well, more. For the other top-level event of the weekend, Glaze Gauntlet 5 was taken by Sunny Day, consisting of Yoshell, Atomic, Zenith, and Gray, with many of the same players and teams that played in Fry Basket also making an appearance to try and fight for the top. And lastly for this week, Triton Cup ran its 90th edition, which was taken 2-1 by Lexi Sucks at Mario Party. A team of Lexi, Henlo, Synapse, DatKid, and Kara over Hime Fan Club. A team of Phoenix, Hime, Kiki, Hershey, and Liam. It had one of the best turnouts for a Triton in a while, which was good to see. But overall, not a whole lot to talk about beyond that. Now, moving on to 11-6 through 11-12. As you'll notice, we're not going into as much detail as we normally do, and that's because I'm talking about like 35 events. It's so many events. I'm sorry, I can't give you as much detail as we normally would. This week, our main weekly trios were back and better than ever. Starting with Paddling Pool, the 292nd edition, good lord, they're getting close to 300, that's crazy, of the event was taken by Cool Mountain, a pickup of Harshy, Dark, Tem, and Hayden, who won pretty dominantly. Then, later that day, during Swimmer Sync 167, Harshy also managed to take the gold with SOS Warriors, a pickup of Liam, Harshy, Tickle, and Hayden, again, pretty dominantly. As user Mango_P put it in our comments section, for a result later down this list actually, Harshy, I love you, but please save some tourneys for the rest of us. Also, other people in the comments were also talking about how Harshy's a menace and must be stopped. Bro wins everything. It's crazy. We can't keep letting him get away with this. Someone stop this man, please. Anyways, finally for the weeklies, Prison Break 13 was swarmed with teams practicing for SAC, such as Retro Records and Insomniac Central, with the event overall being taken by a team who is extremely banned from SAC and Squidward Tiki Land, consisting of Mox, Nick, Goji, and Tickle. Switching off the weeklies, Little Squid League ran their 45th edition of the event with some snazzy new overlays and transitions courtesy of Jub. Jub, you killed it, dude. These fuck. Hell yeah. I have to bleep that. Ignore that. Of the 51 teams who pulled up, the crown went to Veni Vidi Vici, a team consisting of Octodevil, Angel, H, Ruby, and Cicada Fan. And now, for a fan favorite segment. And by fan favorite, I mean literally just me. What's going on over at SAC? Going into Qualifier 3, the only team who had really secured their spot in the finals was Chocolate Milkshake, who had managed to win both the first and second qualifiers back in October. And while they did manage to make a solid run to second, they actually got beat this time by none other than Helios, a pretty well-established mid-level team. They managed an impressive run, beating other teams such as New Wave and Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, who happened to be the only other team besides Chocolate Milkshake likely to make it in at this point in the tournament, actually. Tournament 3 was just an amazing event, and it really spiced up what we could expect to see for the rest of the season going forward. From one league to another, Battle Dojo ran their first qualifier for H2O, a smaller league with 4 qualifier events leading up to a $100 finale. Except I wrote this part, and it actually got canceled because a bunch of teams had to drop out. It's a really unfortunate scenario. The event deserves so much better. I'm really sorry to Ezio the TO, but go give them some support if you can. They deserve it. The first qualifier went to Guess We Do in Dread Comps Now, a team pickup thing. What are you guys? You've played so many events under this name, and I don't know if you're a team or a pickup anymore. Can you give me an answer, pretty please? Consisting of Chara, Half, Delta, and Hypnos, giving them the first slot for the finals event, alongside the second place team of Vuvu United, consisting of Zenith, Bab, Sam, Dylan, and Phoenix. We actually really won't talk about this event that much more, so I'm just going to briefly mention that Qualifier 2 had 3 teams. Sorry, I can't give this that much time. I'm sorry, this video is already going to be so long. Speaking of top-level teams, Sendu ran another fantastic edition of In the Zones with In the Zone 38. As always, this event was just stacked with top-level teams and pickups. While many regulars like Duck Motif, Hades, Squidding Good, Dread Comps, and more played, the event was won overall by Pinaldo, a pickup of Gray, Xerez, Yu, and Clef pretty cleanly through Winterside. Second went to My Little Henlo, and third was taken by Sunny Days, with fourth claimed by Rivals of Aether, a Moonlight pickup. Overall, another fantastic event. Give it a watch if you can. It's good. I actually don't know if you can give it a watch anymore because the VOD's not on YouTube for some reason, and I don't know if it was streamed on Twitch. I never was able to find it. Keeping the top level ball rolling, the Area Cup team ran another great event with Area Cup 22nd. The event overall was taken by Katsu Kameto, a team consisting of Kumarina, Kame-chan, Shumo, and Muyen, using a very unique dually squelchers comp. Surprisingly, they weren't even the only DS in the top placing teams, and there were some other pretty interesting developments as well. A Kuru's comp made it to top 12, as well as a comp with double squeezer shot of all things. It was very interesting to say the least. Give it a check out, it was good. And lastly, before we dive into our trio of lands for this week, CCA is, well, they're done now, but is deep in the trenches of their most recent circuit. If you aren't familiar, CCA is a collegiate circuit for Splatoon with some of the best production and statistic tracking in the entire scene to boot. This week, the team ran Qualifier 4 of their circuit, and while the 4 different divisions are basically enough to consist of their own episode, we're going to skip to the results of Division 1 because this script is already 3 pages long. I'm not halfway done yet. Save me. This time around, third place went to Ark Haley, second was taken by the UFC Knights, and Old Bay Brigade ended up taking first. Please watch CCA, just go watch it. It's peak. I'm sorry, they kill it. They're just the goats. Go watch. It's fantastic. And finally for this week, oh god, we're on week 2. I'm 20 minutes into this. I'm not even halfway done. This is gonna be a long episode. I'm sorry. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 different lands run this week. New Inkland 3, Big Dapple 5, and Chi Shoals 29. Starting with Chi Shoals, the event was won by Chief Keef Sosa Bang Bang Splatoon Pickup Crew, a name single-handedly justifying why we need character limits and team names. This team was made of Bounce, Ultra Yeats, Jordan, Delta, and Latios, who only dropped 2 games the entire event to DePaul University's Chicago Squid Hole. Second was taken by Got That Dog, a team of Sig Dokari, Walk, Shays, and Callan. Another fantastic event from the team. Be sure to check it out and support everyone who worked on it. Links down in the description. For our second out of 3, New Inkland was taken pretty dominantly by Z-tier players, a team consisting of Storm, 49er, Ren, and Romeo. I'm gonna be real, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. It was good, 10 teams showed up, pretty competitive overall, I would say. Be sure to check it out. It was solid. Again, I don't know if you can actually check this one out because I was so long the VOD might be gone. My bad. And lastly for this week, the Big Dapple 5 was the best edition of this event yet. This time around, the Chios chose to use a unique format with double elimination bracket for groups that then placed players into 2 brackets, a silver bracket and a top cut. Silver bracket was pretty solid, being won by... That's your team name? You're gonna make me read this? Alright, being won by Slugma Males. Alright, thank you. A pickup of Goats, DHVF, Terret, and Ghost Ray. But the real highlight of this event was Top Cut, which was concluded by one of the best land sets I've ever seen. The grand final set between Fuego Calamari and Stampao is some of the best Splatoon to date. Go watch it. Just go watch it. While Fuego Calamari, consisting of Vic Vion, Cactus, Red, and Gabe... Dude, I get to put Vic and Char on the tag. It's gonna be a good episode. Had a good attempt to run it back from losers, it just wasn't enough to take out Stampao, made up of Hunty, Nolan, Dre, and Keen, who, in the end, won it all. Go watch it. If you're not watching Big Dapple and what they do over there in New York, bro, go watch it. This is great. Gridlock's great. They cook. Let them do it. Anyways, on to next week. From 11:13 to 11:19. From the top with our weeklies, I'll keep this quick. Paddling Pool 293 was won by Mama a Whale Behind You, a team of Lucifer, Harshy, Liam, Phoenix, and Mikey after some close sense against Nasty Plot. They got sent down to losers in winners finals by Nasty Plot before barely managing to secure the bracket reset and eventually win in grands. Later that evening, Swimmer Sync ran their 168th edition of the event, a special zones only one this time around. Going forward, the event will run zones only editions on editions ending in 3 and 8. So if that's what you're looking for, be sure to keep an eye out for those numbers. This time, the event was won by Monsoon, and overall wasn't anything too crazy this time around. And finally, for our main trio of weeklies, Prison Break 14 saw some older names that haven't been super active pop back up, with the event overall going to Honkai, a team of Nilla, Taro, Ibiwumi, and Kabi. As mentioned earlier, H2O ran this week, which was cool. Bit of a smaller event. I'm not going to talk about it too much beyond that. Just it ran. Shoutouts. And for our final event this week, we got the double low-level power hour this weekend with FTIU and Low Ink. Starting with Low Ink, as the last edition not ran on Sendu, by the way, which is pretty sick. It pulled 80 teams to fight for their chance of the illustrious ban. But the event overall went to Sonoria, who finally got their win over Disclaimer in a bracket reset Game 5 Grand Finals. Funnily enough, all 3 brackets went to a bracket reset this time around, making it one of the longest Low Inks to staff in a very long time. Over at FTIU, the 65th edition was equally as stacked, with 52 teams coming out to try and earn a brand new badge awarded for beating the head TOs in an optional grubbed match after winning the tournament. What an insane idea for a thing to end the tournament with. This is such an Ellie idea, incredibly based. The event and the grudge match actually were won by Sea Stormers, who not only crushed the tournament, but thoroughly bodied Ellie and the rest of the head TOs. So can we get an Ellie mental and also a Toma L in the comments? Pretty please, thank you. So that covers our week 3, and now we move on to our final week for this episode, covering from 11:20 to 11:26. Alright, from the top, weeklies. Paddling Pool was won by Mango Heckmeck, who took it pretty cleanly. Not a lot to say about this one. Later that night, SOS was once again basically an SIC practice event, with important teams like Triggerfish Zones and the Cafeteria making solid runs. In the end, the event went to Healthy Diet Food Groups, who are definitely SIC banned, and had a pretty clean run to take it all, to be honest. And lastly, Prison Break was also basically an SAC practice event, with NFT plus Art Robbers taking the event pretty dominantly over Triggerfish Zone supremacy. Now is where I got to the point where I felt like not writing the script anymore because it was 7 pages and I wanted to explode. So we're just going to do this off of the notes I have. Let's go. CCA ran Qualifier 5, being their final one before the finals event, which was taken by UCSD Esports in a close set against VCU Big Fat Sea Cows, with UCI Knights managing to take 3rd. For the other big league that ran this week, SAC's Qualifier 4 ran, which was taken by a brand new pickup project known as Astral Aces, who came in and managed to make a clean run all the way to win. Okay, this was a little complicated. I had to have this explained to me. So they won, and Helios also won, but neither of them played in any other events, or they basically didn't get any other points besides their win points. So it was a tie between the two, and Helios ended up basically winning a tiebreaker so that they could play, and Astral Aces unfortunately could not in the finals. But they won Qual 4, so good for them. This qualifier also solidified my Opsitus, Free Flow, and Distinct place in the finals, so that was pretty good. Not a whole lot else to say about this one, just a lot of hype building up to finals, so that's actually happened as of the time of me recording this. It was good, we'll talk about it, I promise. But yeah, go check it out, it was good. And finally, saving the best for last, the Sendukyu Season 5 finale. This event, as an invitational, had the 12 highest placing teams for this Sendukyu season, and man, what a stacked event it was. Overall, the event was taken by Akumasu, a team consisting of primarily Japanese players, which was pretty sick to see. We don't get a lot of those out here in North American events unless they're dragged by Kyo, so it was pretty cool to see a team of just purely Japanese players play it out and manage to take the win, which was awesome. Second place was taken by a team name that I can't read out loud because YouTube will demonetize the video, consisting of Gray, Zeres, Clef, and Yosho, which was pretty sick to see. And third went to 3 trans people in Jared, consisting of Zenith, Jared, Volti, and Bab. While obviously there were a lot of other well-known and very popular teams and players that came out and were invited, such as My Little Henlo, Maxlight, A Moonlight Pickup, Monsoon, Mango Hack Mac, Triggerfish Zone Supremacy, etc. This video is so long, I'm not going to go into too many details on this one. If people are interested, we might just start doing solo videos on big events, and this would definitely be one that would be a contender for our first video on that, so hey, if you'd like to see an in-depth solo video breaking down the entire event, let us know down in the comments, we could potentially do that. With that in mind, for this incredibly long video, I've been recording for 45 minutes, my voice is dying. I've been Jardonian. I'm really sorry for being gone all November. I hope this makes it up to you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. Consider dropping a membership, you know? They're really cheap, they support us a lot, lets us pay our team, buy things that are needed to do YouTube stuff, it's great. You know, things like that, which let us do this content more, let us make better content, so please consider it if you are available and able to. Again, sorry for not being around in November, we're back in full swing now, and on that note, thanks for watching.